right, I'm going to demonstrate a weighted version of a curtsey squat. And the whole reason for getting into this is going to be two reasons. One is to work some compression, which is basically hinging completely from the hip, so you're closing the gap between your torso and thigh. And the other thing is you're stepping your leg back and across. This is going to control the distribution of your weight. So all the weight stays in your base leg as you come down, but as your pelvis shifts, you're going to feel the engagement through the muscles in the outer hip start to change, all right? So some of this is for a little bit more mobility and to get into tight muscles in the outer hip, glute medius, and all the other stuff that wraps around in there. And the other part is to strengthen this. Now, this is meant to be done for a high number of repetitions, something like 5 sets of 8 repetitions, taking this back and forth on each leg. Bringing it down to the full hinge where your belly's touching your thigh, touching your knee down if you can, and then coming back up. But keep the quality of movement smooth all the way through. And it's going to be much harder as you hinge down and almost set your knee down on the floor. Now, you're going to do this with some additional weight. I recommend starting out with something like 10 pounds. That may be good enough. You're going to keep that in the hand on your base leg side. The other leg stays free. And to start here, I'm just going to have my hand on the wall so that I don't fall down and I can take this back and forth. So you don't want to have to fight the balance, keep in mind. You can always do this away from the wall, but otherwise, just let your hand trace the wall. You're not going to lean into this at all. You're keeping the weight on the base foot, keep in mind, and going back and forth. Keep the repetition smooth. Now, I got about 25 pounds here, and just because I got the dumbbell set up, I'm not really trying to prove anything with this. You can always load this further, but starts with something like 10 pounds. So my left foot's my base. I'm just going to let the weight hang and control it so that I don't put the weight on the floor. And then my right leg comes back and across. Now, as you come down, bend the knee straight forward, hinge from the hips, close the gap between the belly and the thigh, and then as your foot goes back and across, bring your knee all the way down. Now press aggressively, lift that back leg, bring yourself all the way up to standing, and then do it again. And bring it down. The other foot goes back and across, hinge down. Lift the back foot first, bring yourself up to vertical, and take it back and forth like that. And again, I'm recommending 5 sets of 8. You can always do more, especially if it's pretty easy and you're not feeling much of a burn. But if you're taking this to the full range back and forth, this should feel like plenty after you do the 5 sets of 8. And I'll do this on the other side. So here, this is just with balance, and I'm not really going to use the wall this time. I'm just going to let the weight hang. And keep in mind, don't fight it. If you're not balancing here, use something to balance. There's nothing wrong with that. You want to be sure you can focus on what you're doing at the hip of the standing leg. So again, from here, I'm just going to bring this down, take it slow. My foot goes back and across. I'm going to hinge all the way down, bring the knee down, and then press into the foot, come all the way back up. And then again, hinge forward, load the base leg, the other foot goes back and across, come all the way down, and then bring it back up to standing. All right, so I hope this helps.